Here's the thing. My commute sucks. My commute is so bad that Honda did a Super Bowl commercial about it last year. They followed a woman who drives from Whittier to Santa Monica every day for work. That Whittier to Santa Monica drive, that just so happens to also be my drive. And I do it every day as well. And even though I'm still salty that no one's given me a free car on account of that, I thought I would share with you how I survive the worst commute in LA. I had never thought about my commute being the worst in LA, but after thinking about it a bit, if we're talking borders, it is. See, Whittier is right here on the eastern border of LA County. If you go any further, you're in Orange County. And Santa Monica is right here on the western border of LA County. If you go any further, you're in the ocean. There's this upper area here, but it doesn't really count, especially for this video. Besides, if you ask anyone from the area, they will tell you that the real LA traffic is all centered here. And I have to drive right through it. When I tell people about my drive, I get a few different reactions. The first is, where the fuck is Whittier? Far, my friend, far from Santa Monica. That's the answer. The second and most common is, oh my god, that's terrible. Are you gonna move closer? The answer to that is, probably not anytime soon. Because living in Santa Monica is very expensive. Living anywhere near Santa Monica is very expensive. So in the meantime, there are several things I do during and between my commute to make it more tolerable. The first thing I do to help make the drive easier is leave to work during off hours. I usually get in my car around 8:40 a.m. to 9 a.m. That is much later than most people would be leaving for work, and that is precisely the point. Despite leaving when I do, my commute still takes me about an hour and 20 to an hour and 40 minutes on average. So once I'm in the car, how do I survive the drive without having a nervous breakdown or driving myself off the freeway from sheer frustration? Let's get into it, shall we? I start my drive with a 30-minute Spanish lesson. I've been working on learning Spanish for a while now, and audio lessons are a way for me to practice without having to carve additional time out of the day dedicated to studying. After that, I generally switch to an audiobook, but if that's too nerdy for you, a podcast works just the same, and you can gain like 10 hipster points, so that's good news. I like audiobooks because reading has always been a huge part of my life, and with my current schedule, I don't really have a ton of time to just sit down and cuddle with a book. But listening to a book on my way to work keeps me up to date with my reading and kills time much more effectively than just turning on the radio. Right now I'm reading The Golden Compass because I'm a child, but also because there's going to be an HBO show on it, so catching up. I find that practicing Spanish and listening to books are a much more engaging way to spend time on a long drive because they provide me with more than just entertainment. There is a sense of productivity that it gives me because even though I was sitting in the car for an hour and a half, at least I was learning something. I do take occasional music breaks if I find myself losing focus because as much as I do enjoy reading and learning, they require much more mental energy than just singing along to a killer tune. I can't play the audio for this because then I will get marked for copyright, but just believe me when I say that I am smashing this song. Ugh, so good. Wish you could hear it. Wish you could hear how good I am. Once I get to work, I assess the damage. Today it took me an hour and 39 minutes, which is a pretty average reflection of how long it takes me to get to work.
So 1 hour and 39 minutes, as sad as it is actually pretty average for me. Kind of not bad, to be expected, I guess. The longest it has ever taken me to get home is 3 hours and 5 minutes.
That was not a good day.
So whenever I'm above 2 hours, below 2 hours, it's kind of a good day.
But anyway, I digress. It's work time. After working for several hours, I make it a point to go for a walk. I know this may seem unrelated to commuting, but taking a walk for at least part of my lunch is a huge part of what keeps me sane on my workdays. See, when you get out of work at a normal time because you went in at a normal time and you live in a decent place that's nearby where you work, you get to go home and live a semblance of your life. But I don't really do that. I get home at around 10 o'clock at night. so not much time to do stuff. So I find that taking these walks is actually like ridiculously important to me feeling okay about my life and like I lived a decent day. And obviously I'm super spoiled and this is the beach, and I mean, like, it really doesn't get any better than this. But regardless of where I worked, I would go for a walk at lunch, because this is just how I stay sane. After that, I finish my workday and then it's back to the car. I leave work at about 7 p.m., but that is not when I drive home. I'm driving to yoga. And the reason that I do that is it's about 7, which is when I leave work. And if I were to leave and go home now, it would take me about an hour and 20, an hour and 30, which is better than the 2 hours or 2.5 hours that it would take me if I left during rush hour, but not as good as the hour to 45 minutes on a good day that it'll take me after yoga, which will be around 9 o'clock. Before I did yoga, I would just go to the gym downstairs in my building. That kind of works out, but I like the structure of a class and it's just kind of good for me. So that's where I'm going right now. So I will see you again after my class for my final commute home. I get out of yoga a little before 9 p.m. and then I get back into my car for my final commute of the day. And even though it's 9 o'clock and you'd think there'd be no traffic, you'd be wrong. But traffic is significantly better by this time, and it is pretty much as good as it's ever going to get in LA. My brain is usually so fried by the end of these drives that all I do is put on the radio or a playlist. But if I'm feeling particularly awake, I will put on another audiobook or another Spanish lesson. On average, it takes me about an hour to get home, but on good days, I can make it back in 45 to 50 minutes. Alright, so I just parked, and we did really good today. We're at 48 minutes. If you can see that there. 48 minutes with an average of 41 miles per hour. That's actually really good. You might be looking at these times and be thinking that it's not that bad, but I would remind you that it is 9:51 p.m. And so my strategy for dealing with this commute is to avoid the rush hour as much as possible. And the backside of that is that it's 10 o'clock at night. So not ideal for someone who's trying to, live a normal life. Not a typical schedule at all. Doesn't really do well. The reason it works for me is because I'm single, don't have kids, and I'm young, so I have a ton of energy. If you took away any one of those things, my drive would go from being bad to virtually unsustainable. I think about that a lot, actually. So maybe this isn't the most universally applicable way to cope with a shit commute, but hopefully you've learned a thing or two about how to make the most of a long drive. Or at the very least found yourself saying, well, at least my drive isn't that bad. That's okay with me. I'm here for that. So until next time, farewell fellow commuters. Happy honking, and may your drive be better than mine. Oh my god, this bird's trying to die. Okay, it's fine. See, that's the first hiccup of the day. There will be several of those. You must prepare yourself. It's all fine. If you are an angry driver, if you have road rage, I would not recommend this commute for you. I find myself to be pretty chill, give people some slack. Everyone's just trying to get to work wherever they're going. I slid right in, and guess who broke? The Audi broke. That's right. It's not gonna hit me with that fancy ass Audi. Fucking drive a Corolla. This shit lasts forever. You can hit this bitch with a bazooka and it would still drive. So you just slide right in wherever you need to go. Do not worry about anybody else. You just do you, boo. You just fucking do you. Also stay on the left lane. Those right lanes might seem like they're going faster. They're liars. They're not going any faster than the left lane. The left lane is where it is at, okay? Unless there's a street sweeper, in which case get the fuck out of the left lane. The street sweepers ruin people's lives. Alright. Woo! Hello! If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I can't really even tell you how much I appreciate it. I love making these videos. People always freak out when I tell them about my commute, so I thought I'd make a video about it. If you enjoyed it, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. If you think I'm just like a lame person, that's fine too, though. So, okay, bye.